Hi there, this is Chris Ruspe. I'm the president of Applied Financial Wisdom, and this is my first official flame of Motley Fool and their article that came out this week on Social Security. I'm saying that with a bit of a chuckle, but I'm actually quite serious in that it just goes to show that when you're listening to people who are not professionals and are journalists, you always have to take their advice with a grain of salt. They posted an article earlier this week. They called it the three great reasons to take Social Security benefits at 62. And they went on to cite three reasons that this might make great sense, all of which I think are very, very questionable, and I'll tell you why. But the first one they cited was that your career has come to an unexpected end. Now, while it certainly is true that if your career has come to an unexpected end, you might need some additional income, the fact that you're going to be taking such a huge cut over what you would normally get at full Social Security needs to be taken into consideration. Another factor is that if your employment has come to an end because of layoffs, then you have other options like unemployment. If your employment has come to an end because of disability, you have other options like collecting disability income insurance or disability Social Security. And then the third choice is, so if your professional career came to an end, why not get a regular job and try and postpone taking that Social Security? So I think that's a really questionable strategy. What we're going to talk about at the end today is how much the taxes are if you do collect Social Security before full retirement age. The second point they bring up is if you're not super confident in your health and how long you're going to live. Now, this is the only consideration that I think is even somewhat valid. I often have, over the last 30 years, had people ask me, Chris, how do I get the biggest bang for my buck out of what I have contributed to Social Security? And I say, sure, I can tell you that. Absolutely, no problem. 100% of the time. You just need to tell me one thing first. If you can tell me when you're going to die and how old you're going to be, I'm happy to calculate that for you. So yes, I mean that somewhat facetiously, but nobody knows how long they're going to live, and the only real thing you have going for you if you take Social Security early is if you die young, you may have gotten a little bit more. The other factors that they don't bring up, well, let me finish my attempted flame anyway. Point number 3 that Motley Fool mentions here is that you saved so much for your benefit that your Social Security benefits are just bonus cash. Okay, now, from working with wealthy people over the last 30 years, I can tell you that wealthy people don't want to pay taxes, and wealthy people don't waste money. They don't get wealthy by wasting money. And so this is just a plain old ridiculous comment. You're not going to trigger taxes. You're not going to pull income when you don't need it. That makes no sense whatsoever. There are a couple other factors I think should be taken into consideration that I usually will mention. One of them is that when they talk about fixing Social Security, when Congress talks about fixing Social Security, they're usually talking about making changes to people who haven't actually turned their Social Security on. So I think it is a legitimate point to consider that if you start your Social Security, you're more likely not to be targeted by future changes to, say, the full retirement age or even the calculation metrics. So that's one really big factor. But here's the final point that I want to bring up. You can't take this type of an article as professional advice because it doesn't take into consideration the tax consequences of this move. They're talking abstractly, and the abstract argument makes no sense whatsoever. In 2022, the year that we're in, if you're under full retirement age, and most people full retirement age is 66 or 67, okay? If you're under full retirement age, in other words, you take Social Security at 62 or 63, you have an annual earnings limit of $19,560. What that means is that if you're if you earn more than that, for every dollar that you earn more than that, they will withhold, for every $2 that you earn above that, rather, they will withhold $1 of your Social Security benefit. And that's based on $19,560 for the year 2022. And that's if you start collecting your Social Security early, like the Motley Fool's article just recommended. So once again, if you earn more than $19,560, you can expect to have 50% of your Social Security withheld. This gets back to one of my favorite subjects, which is how scandalous it is that they want to tax us on giving us our own money back after holding our money for 30, 40, 50 years and doing a very poor job of investing it to begin with. So you've just seen a very significant event in my social media history, my first official flame. Hopefully it was interesting to you. Hopefully it was done in a somewhat kind way, which isn't usually done on the internet. And I just ask you to subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn if you'd like to see our future content. And pass this on to someone you know. We're trying to help 100,000 people this year through social media videos. I'm signing off now, Chris Ruspe for Applied Financial Wisdom. Have a great weekend.